I'm here at Turtle Vineyards in Cape May, New Jersey, and this place is one of the best places I've ever been to for wine. They have such a selection and it's top notch. So if you are a wine aficionado, I advise you come here. If you don't particularly drink wine all the time, come here anyway. They will give you the ropes, they will show you everything about wine, and you will love everything from the education of it all to the whole taste. So this episode of Think Sip Right is going to be about wine. And it took me a while to say that because I've had a couple glasses. So cheers, salud, and we'll get back in the studio. Okay, so this episode's about wine, obviously, and I have brought a special guest to co-host with me on this episode. This is Roberta Pepito, my wife.
Hello.
She is Homemade Delish, and she is kind of an expert on foods and wines and beer and all kinds of the good stuff, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a couple pop quiz questions. And,
oh, goodness. Am I going to be graded on this?
You might be. You might be. I don't know.
Don't judge me.
I already judged you. So we actually used to, a little history, we used to do a podcast together called Think About This, but, somebody became too popular and, we have no time for me anymore.
Well, schedule conflict.
Yeah, I know. So, but she sat down for 5 minutes to do this, so I've got to hurry up and get through this so that you're not bored.
No, it's date night.
Yeah, it's date night. It is. Cheers.
Cheers.
So, wine.
Yes, the best thing.
So what do? Do we do the fun stuff first, or do we do the interesting stuff first?
Well, it's up to you. I mean...
All right, well, a little history.
Okay.
All right, so wine is about, they think it's about 9,000 years old. That's at least the earliest recorded samples that they've found, and they found them everywhere. Cultures that they've found.
Mm-hmm.
I could say found about a couple more times. It'd be kind of fun. In the U.S., I think the oldest one they found is 5,400 years old.
Now, nobody obviously drank it, right?
No, well, you can't drink it, but you can
It'd probably
cultivate.
be vinegar.
Yeah. Oh, well, that brings up an interesting point about aging wines.
Mm-hmm.
Can you age all wines?
No, you cannot.
You cannot. Okay. So, because there's someone close to me in my family, and I won't mention any names, that believes that you can buy a bottle of wine and just hold it indefinitely, and it will be good.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true.
Opened or...
Well,
I know that... I don't know if we're talking about the same person.
Well, let's do open versus closed, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If it's closed, you can obviously age it longer, right?
Uh-huh.
But certain wines, you don't, they have a shelf life, just
Right.
like a beer.
Right.
So what if you open a bottle of wine?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be a really good bottle of wine, but what if you open it and you don't drink it all? First of all, who opens a bottle of wine and doesn't drink the whole thing?
No,
It happens.
It happens, but the next day you just continue drinking it.
Right.
Right?
But how long is that open bottle good for? And how should you...
I would say, 3 days tops for me, personally.
3 days.
Tops.
Okay. Yeah, that's about right.
Just because I feel, and the thing is, after it's open too, I would suggest just putting it in the fridge, just because sometimes I guess leaving it out too may cause, I don't know, because I have never had something longer than 3 days.
Would you say it's safe to say you need to drink it within a week?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But going over that,
as you progress, you would see towards the days it becomes more like vinegar.
It separates.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can actually see it on the bottle. If you actually look at the bottle, you can actually see the residue and everything in there. So.
All right. Do you have a favorite type of wine?
I used to drink whites, if you remember 15 years ago. I used to drink a lot of white wine, and I became a red wine drinker. So I would say Nebbiolo or Nera di Avola is one of my favorites.
And they're both reds.
They're both reds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was quite opposite 15 years ago. I only liked reds. And I still prefer reds. Cabernet Sauvignon's probably one of my favorites.
A good Malbec is good, though.
Malbec's good, too.
Like a good one?
I mean, there's really not many wines that I don't like as far as type.
How about Merlot? Do you...
I love Merlot. I love Merlot.
Do you
Don't
drink
bring
Merlot?
I'm not drinking any effing Merlot. It's a great movie.
Yes.
Sideways, right?
Yeah.
But I actually grew to like whites too, and as you can see in the vineyard, I was drinking a Pinot Grigio, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple days since we've been there, so kind of a little fuzzy in the memory. The wine will help out though. Okay, so you have your favorite wines.
Yes.
How do you go about pairing things? Like, what do you? I mean, you've become known nationally, really, for globally on a certain scale for your pairings and for your dishes.
Well, mainly food, but for not everybody is a wine drinker, obviously. But usually for whites, you know, a lot of people tend to drink them a lot in the summer, so you would automatically think grilling and salads and fish for white wines. For reds, obviously, you're looking at heartier dishes, so you're looking at meats and pastas and stuff like that. So that's kind of, you just go with, you know, a red's usually a heartier kind of dish that you're looking for.
Right.
You know, lighter, you go for the whites.
Okay.
You know?
All right. That sounds
Yeah.
sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
you know, immediately when I think about it, that's what I would think right off the bat. Okay. Now, here gets to the interesting, yet I'm really going to put your knowledge to the test here.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Okay.
So I got to...
I don't think I had enough wine for that yet. But
Well, it's okay. Okay, there's a method to drinking wine. Like, you know, wine connoisseurs are considered wine snobs by a lot of people. I really don't think there's such thing as a wine snob. A wine snob is somebody who thinks they know everything.
I think a lot of people that are connoisseurs are people that are very well know, like they know their knowledge on wine. They know their history on wine. I mean, they travel around the world and, you know, they learn from different
They're
winemakers.
protective of their knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so
absolutely.
But you know, it's funny, we were at Turdo Vineyards. We've learned quite a bit about winemaking from there. They're from which part of Italy?
They're Sicilian.
They're Sicilian.
Yeah.
And
Just like
they're
you.
just amazing. Yes.
Well, Calabrese.
Yeah.
Calabria.
Medigan. So all right. So there's a process to get the full experience from wine, and that's basically, you know, if you've never had the chance to taste wine, there's a process to go about to get the full experience. Okay. So you start off, and you see people swirling their glasses. Okay.
Do you want to?
Yeah, you want to demonstrate? You know. Okay. See, because
Right.
if I did that, it would like splash all over me.
You know, I mean, you want to kind of go vigorously. Some people, this is why you don't fill it as much. You are only supposed to fill it a little bit if you are trying and tasting wine.
Okay, and there's also like this shaped glass.
This is like
helps.
a tulip glass.
It's a tulip?
Tulip,
Okay.
yes.
So that shaped glass, give me mine. That shaped glass actually kind of
Well,
helps
yeah,
you a little
you
bit.
can go, if you can see, you can actually see the coloring of the wine.
Okay, so now why do you do that?
Well, it brings out the aromas, the essence of the grapes, the whatever's in that blend. You can smell it.
Okay.
So you actually have to put your nose completely in.
All right, so and now what are we looking for when you smell it? Do you put your nose all the way in?
All the way in.
And you take
Don't
like,
think you look like a weirdo when you do that, because you don't. It actually, it helps you. It intensifies.
I probably look like a weirdo when I do it.
It intensifies the smell of, you know, all those aromas that are coming out. So certain ones may have like chocolate and berries. Some may be a little more smoky. Some may be fruitier. I mean, it all depends on what they are doing with their wines.
Okay, and then that smell transfers into the next step, which would be tasting it.
Right.
Now, you taught me an interesting trick about holding your nose. So
We're not going to show them because it kind of looks weird.
Smell and taste go together.
Right.
Everybody knows
That's why
that.
it's so important.
But you told me that if I hold my nose and if I take something like
An apple, strawberry,
a
chocolate,
piece of fruit,
anything
really.
Yeah.
I hold my nose for a little bit and I take a piece of something and I put it in my mouth and I chew on it while I'm holding my nose. And about 10 to 15 seconds in, I let go of my nose. It's like the flavor just bursts in your mouth. To a degree that I never knew possible.
Well, that's why they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and it
smell. That's why you do all that with the wine, because you're getting
that's
your
why you
brain.
Swish, you swirl, you smell.
You smell because
swish.
you're getting your brain ready for that wine and ready for that taste.
So it's the 3 S's.
process.
Swirl, smell, or
Sip.
sniff, and
Sip. Yeah.
and swish.
Mm-hmm.
So, because after you sip, you get it in your mouth and you.
I've never
swish
done that. The swishing. You're the one that told me that. I don't know.
See, the reason
a lot
I
of people
do
that because the professionals, the people that are real like people that go around and try different wines all the time. That's their job.
I don't do it with every sip that I take. It's the first glass that I have from a bottle.
Well, yeah, it's usually the first sip.
And it's the first sip.
Yeah.
And it's just so that I can, because you can pick up little hints of different things.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's tobacco, sometimes it's blackberries, depending on, how it fermented.
Yeah, and it's 10 to 15 seconds you're supposed to swish it in your mouth.
Okay.
And then swallow it. But usually the connoisseurs or the people, they just spit it out. They don't swallow it. They see if their taste buds like it, and then if they do, then they proceed to keep drinking.
Okay. I'll never spit out wine. Well, you know what, though? There has been some wine that I've just gone, no, I can't do it. But I've done that with beer, too.
Right.
So you should come back. You do an episode of beer with me?
I will absolutely do one
Okay.
with you.
All right. Maybe I can recruit her for a couple other things. All right. So I have one final question for you. Mm-hmm. It's more of a statement, but a lot of people have told me they don't like wine because it causes them to have a headache. Mm-hmm. Now, I've had headaches from wine, and I've also gotten up the next day after drinking 2 bottles, and over an extended period. It wasn't like 5 minutes,
right?
But I've gotten up the next day and felt completely fine. Mm-hmm. So, is it true that all wine causes headaches? Or is it...
I think it's the sulfites in the wine, and I think it depends on how fast you're drinking it, too. There's people that actually do have allergies to sulfites that we actually are not even aware of because it's the outer shell, like the skin of the grape that actually has that. So...
Okay.
Some interesting things.
Yeah. You did an amazing spread. We'd have like a cheese board. You can kind of see part of it here. She did an amazing spread. So at the end of each episode, I always put up like a little slideshow. Did you take a picture of that?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I'll include her picture with a couple other facts and some other things. I want to thank Roberta for being here. Follow her on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that cool stuff at Homemade Delish. Mm-hmm. And I'm Rick Pepito. Please comment. Tell us what your favorite type of wine is. Any questions, suggestions for future episodes? I've got a whole ton lined up, but I'm open to suggestions. Feel free to chime in. Follow, like, subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Now, do you do that thing?
What thing?
Down below or anything?
Wait, what am I doing down below?
Like subscribe or, hit the button to subscribe.
I always have little cool artwork.
Okay.
I'll probably put bunny ears behind your head or something. I don't know.
Sorry.
And, so, yeah, thanks. Anyway, so...
Ching ching.
Ching ching.